From Glasgow, powerlifter Ray Nobley. From Surrey, lorry driver Tosha Killingbeck. From London, weightlifter Andy Drzewiecki. From Aberdeen, Highland Games ace Bill Anderson. From Leicestershire, hammer thrower Jim Whitehead. From Dundee, another Highland Games pro, Grant Anderson. From Birmingham, all-in wrestler Big Pat Roach. From Huntingdon, shot putter Jeff Capes. And circus strongman Gunga Din showing us some of his speciality as well. More than 2,000 pounds of flesh and muscle. And amongst it all, shy Barbara Windsor.
To be here, and all this lovely muscle too. Now I'll see you later because I'm going to warm up the competitors. Ta-ra, everybody!
Well, now, throughout history, man has been fascinated by great feats of strength.
Samson, blinded by the Philistines, toppled the pillars of their temple. Milo, the hero of ancient Greece, 6 times Olympic wrestling champion. Thomas Tuffham, 18th century London publican, made a harness lift of 1,800 pounds. The American Eugene Sandoz' feats of strength startled the world 80 years ago. And his compatriot Jack Walsh recently lifted a baby elephant.
Well, of course, as sport became more specialized, it became even more difficult to compare fellows of different strengths. I mean, how could you compare a weightlifter with a wrestler or a shot putter with a hammer thrower?
We've devised a whole series of different strength tests to decide just that over the next 3 weeks. Tests like these.
Now, the rules of the competition are very simple indeed. We have 11 events in all for our 8 strong men to compete in. And the winner of each event, 7 for second, 4 for third, 2 for fourth, and 1 for fifth. Now, at the end of 11 events, the 4 leaders in points will then compete in a tug of war, and points for that last event will be doubled.
Ensuring fair play, our overall referee, Oscar State, former General Secretary of the International Weightlifting Federation. Lifting, of course, has always been a great feat of strength.
Okay, well, that's all very well, but we've got something different for you. Barrels out here, and they're all full of liquid, sand, and steel shot. 150 pounds they start out, and they go right up to 275 pounds. Now, the idea is that the competitor has to lift the barrel above his head, lock the elbows, 2 seconds, and then, if he manages that, on to the next barrel. Barbara. Marvellous. Well done.
Nothing to it.
All right, let's do it now for real with the 8 competitors, all trying to be Britain's strongest man.
Tosha Killingbeck starting off here. He won a barrel lifting contest in his local pub, but he's having trouble at our first weight, 150 pounds. No, he's out. Everyone else managed the 150, but we rejoin it with the barrel at 175. Now, Ray Nobley's used to this sort of weight, silver medalist at last year's World Powerlifting Championships.
1, 2, down.
And no trouble there at all. And the others also managed that weight. So Tosha out, but it's now Jim Whitehead at 200. And he and 3 other hammer throwers once lifted a Volkswagen Golf on their shoulders. And he's having problems here. I'm afraid that's as far as he gets. Not very pleased. So there's 6 competitors left, and we rejoin it now at 250 pounds. Bill Anderson, recognized #1 at the Highland Games, professional for 23 years, British champion 10 times.
Steady. 1, 2, down.
And safely through. Fellow Scott Grant there approving of that. Well, now Pat Roach, hero of the wrestling ring, popular villain on television and in films. Very difficult to handle. Capes, though, still not getting down to the 8-inch gap. That's probably because of the springiness in the steel. Still not there, but all the other competitors having problems as well. Anyway, Capes leads easily with the ends of his bar 12 3/8 of an inch apart. Grant Anderson next at 48 1/8, and the others over 50. Now on to Group 2. Nobly, Bill Anderson, Whitehead, and Killingback.
5/8 of an inch. Put it where you want it. Wait for the word.
And they've got to get 12 and 3/8 inches apart, because that's what Capes managed. And this group, again, not finding it easy. Bill Anderson changing his technique a little. Jim Whitehead as well, not making much impression on that bar. And Tosher probably wishing he was back lorry driving again, straining at the bit. Strength of the power lifter, Ray Nobly, not managing it either. Lots of trouble there.
Seconds.
And you can hear Jeff Capes giving advice to his fellow international athlete, Jim Whitehead. One final effort for these men. But time slipping away. 12 inches they need to get that far down to. And they've run out of time. Whitehead, a quarter of an inch inside 50. Bill Anderson, 50 exactly. The others well over. They all found it too hot to handle. What was the problem there? Was there any? What was the main problem that you were finding there?
Bending the bar.
Well, no, besides the method that you had to use.
It's very difficult to hold it in the right place. If you're not careful, it's going to slip and you scalp yourself. The technique, I think, was to get your head back and push it down and inwards. If you got it across your neck, you had no chance.
Yeah. So Jeff Capes wins again with a 3-foot better bend, that is, than Grant Anderson. Jim Whitehead third, Bill Anderson fourth, and 1 point to Andy Drowiecki. So then, maximum points for Capes after 2 events, Bill and Grant Anderson second and third, and apart from the event prize money, £500 awaits the overall winner with $250 for second and $150 for third. For my next trick, yes, we're going to be in the brick mood. Off you go. Lift it up to chest height, that's it. Good girl. The record is in fact 14 bricks in a line up to chest.
14?
14, yes.
Wow.
And you hold it for 2 seconds. We're going to start the competitors off with 6 bricks. All right? So join us after the break. The break. Welcome back to Britain's Strongest Man. Almost 3 tons.
Jimmy, come on! 2 feet over! Come on, you softy! Come on!
The time very important here.
Come on, Jim! Jimmy, go! Come on! 2 feet!
And he manages to break 2 minutes. What was that experience like, Jim?
Do you really want an answer for that?
Tosher Killingback now. Now, last year, for a bet, he pulled a 3-ton truck a mile in half an hour. But he can't budge this one very far, and eventually, like Ray Nobly and Andy Drowiecki, he runs out of time. They're the 3 lightest men in the contest, so it's not surprising, really. Pat Roach is our next competitor.
Pat, she's going, Pat. She's going.
And he's on his way. Easy, they call it. The year's overstatements, I think. His shoes seem to be coming off his feet there. I mean, this surely isn't intentional. Yes, they've gone. Maybe he thinks he'll get a better grip now with bare feet. He's going well now. And well inside the time. And you can see that finishing line just in front of him. A few more yards to go. And vital points here, hopefully, for Pat Roach. And he's made it, yes.
Am I allowed to swear? It's very hard, actually.
You took your shoes off, didn't you? You thought that was going to give you more momentum?
No, they came off.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
They just turned off as I was pulling. Yeah. That's how much pressure, there's a terrific amount of pressure on that damn thing.
So 146 there, that's faster than Whitehead, but Grant has already done 140, and it's Bill Anderson now. 140 seconds to beat. And he's almost breaking into a trot here. And remember, they're going up a gradient, 100 feet course. 41 years of age, Bill, and keeping that steady, even pace. He's almost accelerating at this point. It's a very fast time indeed.
That, Bill, was 34 seconds faster than anybody else up to now. Do you make a hot habit of doing this sort of thing?
First time we've done it.
You're going there very, very fastly indeed, Bill.
First time.
How do you feel at the end of the first day?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
You've had a couple of seconds. Do you feel that you could win this one?
Don't think so.
Well, we'll see what Jeff Capes does in a moment. Thank you, Bill.
That's right.
Yes, Jeff Capes on the line. Man fighting to keep an unbeaten record in our first week of this 3-week competition. And now standing near him, that friend from the athletic world, Jim Whitehead, giving advice as always. But Jeff knows where he's heading. Doesn't really need any help at all. Forget about petrol and oil. This is the one-man answer to the energy crisis. And at this rate, he could very well break a minute. The grunts and the groans and the crowd pushing him on. Jim Whitehead yelling at him there. And that finishing line getting close.
What a remarkable day, Jeff. 4 events out of 4. 4 wins. Was that the toughest?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You ask a silly question, you know. 2 3/4 tons he's just pulled.
oh, yeah. Haven't got legs.
Come on.
10 points for Capes, 7 to Bill Anderson, 4 to Grant Anderson, 2 for Pat Roach, and 1 to Jim Whitehead. And they were hard-earned points. So Jeff finishes our first week with 40 points. Bill Anderson second with 21.5, Grant third with 12 3/4. A big lead, but there could be some surprises in store.
And that's really all we've got strength for this week. 4 more heats next week. I hope you'll join us for that at the same time. And just a sample of what you can expect. Good evening and welcome to Woking Leisure Centre here in the heart of Surrey to the second of 3 heats to find Britain's strongest man. Well, if you were watching last week's programme, you'll know our 8 competitors, but let's reintroduce them now.
And the deadweight is 711 pounds.
Well, they must be. I wonder how close we are to that now, but
Well,
good luck.
over
What?
that.
We're over that.
Because in the deadlift, it's from the floor, the lift, whereas you've got suspension here, giving you a rise of 4 inches, therefore making the lift easier, you know.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens to you and your competitor in the next round. Thank you.
And the car is now loaded to 744 pounds. Easy, he said. Well, let's see whether it is or not.
Okay, mate. Right.
It is indeed. He makes that look very simple. Now Drzewiecki again, and he and Nobili are amateurs, so remember their prize money will go to the British Amateur Weightlifting Association. And Andy takes that straight up. And he seems to have improved his dropping technique as well. Looking at his hand, though. I wonder if he's hurt. Perhaps not. Well, another 44 pounds is loaded now into the back of that car. So remember, that's 788 pounds, equal to 3 fully loaded big kitchen freezers. The tension rising between this pair of competitors from different branches of the same sport. We're going now into the 5th round, then, of the competition. And nobly, he'll be first. It's a deadlifter, I suppose he might just have the edge here. And again, he makes that look as easy as lifting a chair. He's feeling his ankle. I hope there's no problem there. We'll wait and see. He felt that one. Don't like the way he's arching his back. It'll be a shame if an injury caused this contest to miss out.
Might have ripped the muscles just up my back.
You think you may have done a muscle in?
Yeah, my hand's beginning to split there, as you see.
Yeah.
Not to worry.
Do you think you'll go on and do the next one?
We'll see, huh?
Another 44 pounds now in that boot. 832 pounds. That's nearly 7.5 hundredweight. He does it, but the weight there beginning to tell, we think. He looks very happy about it, and no wonder. Here comes Drowiecki. Will he go on? He won't. He said to Oscar he's retiring. So nobly wins. Geoff Cape's monopoly broken at last.
Do you think you could have gone on?
Another 10 kilos, maybe 20 pounds, but that one was hard, very
I
hard.
gather that people like yourself, you start to shout, and when you start to shout, you're beginning to feel the weight.
Well, it's really control of the adrenaline. The shouting helps me to get the adrenaline going through the body. I get angry at the bar, and that helps me lift it.
But the louder you shout, the more it's beginning to tell, is it, the weight?
Yes, it's getting harder.
Well done. The first blood, then, to a weightlifter in Britain's strongest man. Well done. Ray Nobley.
10 points then to Ray, and 7 to Andy. Jim Whitehead, Bill Anderson, and Geoff Cape sharing 3rd place with 2 and a 3rd points, leaving Nobley in 3rd place overall.
Well, this is the cue for the next event, directory tearing, in this case an E to K directory from London. But this is how someone else did it.
Oh, Derry, I can do that. Yes, nothing to it.
All right, off you go, then. Oh, dear. Ooh.
Ah, you see?
Thank you, Barbara.
That was thanks, Sergeant.
Enthusiast. All right, seriously, we've got a competition in hands now. We'll leave Barbara to her own devices. And let's go to the table. 7 fellows await. They've got these directories to tear right in half, as many as they can in 1 minute, starting now.
Yes, 7 lining up because Grant Anderson's still a non-starter here. And the paper, as you can see, beginning to fly in all directions. Interesting to watch their different techniques. Ray showing a deft touch. Tosha not so happy. Andy doing pretty well there. Jim, he's having some trouble. Still struggling. Pat's getting in a bit of a twist too. And Andy tearing those rather easily. On. Ray's having no bother at all. Andy taking them in stages. Well, it's one way. Jim, though, is in real trouble. But Pat, I think he's got the neck now. I remember there's a time limit here, and time's now running out, and those hands must be sore. Well, that's it. And the way untorn directories are flying, I don't envy the judges. Fun event, though. And as they sort it out, the score, nobly 16 directories, That's 2 ahead of Bill Anderson and Drzewiecki with 14. Capes and Whitehead on 11. Killingback and Roach on 7. So another 10 points to Nobili. 5.5 each for Bill Anderson and Drzewiecki. 1.5 for Jeff Capes and Jim Whitehead. And if we put those points now onto the main scoreboard, we'll find that while Jeff Capes leads, Anderson and Nobili getting closer.
Well, now for something even more tiring, we're going to be doing it with these.
Oh, Derek, I do feel tired.
Do you know that we're going to have to throw these tires?
Throw them? Here, wouldn't it be easy if we just bowled them?
Do join us after the break when we'll be seeing how strong men coping with the tires. Are you radial or cross-ply or retread, Barbara? Programs here from Woking to find Britain's strongest man, and straight away it's into tire tossing. Now, we've had some preliminary heats for this, and 5 men have got through to the final. They are Grant Anderson and Bill Anderson. We've got the wrestler, Big Pat Roach, and then the 2 members of the British athletics team, Jeff Capes and Jim Whitehead. They're through then to the final. They have 2 more throws. Let's see what they've got to do.
With Grant Anderson, the 2 big men. Capes making the early running in this interesting race. And indeed, he seems to be winning that fairly easily, yes. Our Wall not enjoying the impact. Now on to heat 2, and it's Drzewiecki on the left, Killingback on the right. And Andy getting well away there. Tosher trailing again. He's finding this much too much for him. A good win for the weightlifter. Heat 3, and Ray Nobili and Pat Roach. Remember, they're pushing well over 700 weight here. Pat seems to be hobbling a bit. Ray winning, but where's that barrel?
And welcome once again to the Woking Leisure Centre for the 3rd of our 3-part series to find Britain's strongest man. And here are the 8 competitors.
Lorry driver Tosher Killingback. All-in wrestler Big Pat Roach. Highland Games professional Grant Anderson. Champion weightlifter Andy Drzewiecki. Hammer thrower Jim Whitehead. Champion powerlifter Ray Nobili. Veteran of the field Bill Anderson. And hefty shot-putting ace Jeff Capes.
Those are the 8 fellas taking part, and here's the latest points table to just show you what's happening in the contest.
Lead nearly 30 points ahead of Highland Games champion Bill Anderson. Ray Nobili just 5 further behind in 3rd place.
Just in case you don't know what the scoring system is, it's 10 points for the winner of each event, 7 for 2nd, 4 for 3rd, 2 for 4th, and 1 for 5th. And at the very end of this part of the show, we'll have that tug of war, which will be worth double the points. That's the way it is then, as I welcome now for the 3rd time my charming assistant, who knows all about muscles, Barbara Windsor.
Hello, Derek.
Hello. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you anyway, you know, 2 weeks we've had with all these 8 strong men. You must know by now how they tick.
No idea, no. But you see that tall, dark one over there with the big petrol?
I thought, yeah.
I'm going to go and ask him. Okay, see you later.
Okay. All right, Barbara. We'll see what she's up to in a moment, but meanwhile, let's prepare ourselves for the next feat of strength.
It's taking 10 men all their time and effort to lift this massive purpose-built beam. It's made out of tubular steel, filled with concrete. It's for the girl lift. As in all the other events, £100 to the winner, 75 second, 50 for 3rd.
Here, tell me something, Jim. Were you ever a 7-stone weakling?
Well, according to my mum, I was the day I was born.
Ah, but you were lovely then, weren't you? Here, do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions?
No, but I can't talk to you down there. Come on, let's...
Oh, I think my luck's changed. Here, what do you have to do to get all those muscles?
Well, yeah, they took a long time to develop, but just like you, Barbara, they grew and they grew and they grew.
I know what he means. Anyway, before the competition gets going now, Circus strongman Gunga Din. He's about to try giving 7 of these fellas a boost. His beam weighs just 8 stone, but our gladiators add another 134 stone to that weight, nearly 1,800 weight in all. Making a slight adjustment here, I see. Don't know what that's going to do to help, but we'll find out. This is something that Gunga Din does in his circus act. That usually brings the house down, so to speak. Now this is going to be a foot lift. Not as tough, Oscar Status shows us, as the event we have in store, but still a tremendous feat if he manages it. They're taking the supports away, and he really has done it, yes. Gunga Din. Well, that's one way of doing it. Many thanks to Gunga Din. But for our competitors, this is the beam that they're thinking about for our next feat of strength. 1,016 pounds. Or put another way, that's half a ton. And they've got to raise this beam up, and when they manage to do that, we'll increase the weight by adding these lovely ladies behind me here, just to make it that little bit more difficult. Now, when both ends clear those supports, these lights should come on, and we've got officials in place just in case they don't. The time limit for each lift, 1 minute. So we join the competition with 6 girls now on the beam. That's 1,500 weight and 28 pounds. Pat Roach not competing. Everyone else, though, is in the round. Tosha Killingback trying. Getting a bit of helping hand there, but still nonetheless in trouble. It's a heck of a weight, this. And in fact, Tosha decides to retire. So we're going to move on now to round 4. 8 girls, 1,700 weight, 54 pounds. That's the weight to hoist, and it's Jeff Capes. Now we've got a light failure on the right, but it's nonetheless a good lift from the Commonwealth shot put champion, despite that bit of light problem. And next to go, Jim Whitehead. And he teaches physical education at Rawlings Community College in Leicestershire. A sympathetic look there from Tosha, but Jim nonetheless, I think, is struggling here. And the time limit has beaten him, yes. He didn't manage it, but pretty good nonetheless. 5 men now left in the competition. And the next to go, the 22-stone town planner from Dundee. A big man, this, successful in the Highland Games. And he's done it, no problem, despite that elbow of his. It was causing problems last time we saw him. Now to Bill Anderson. Now, even though we've got one light on there, it isn't a light failure that beats him, just the weight. And it's Andy Drowiecki. He teaches part-time to leave himself free to train for weightlifting, and he looks confident here. A light failure, but it doesn't matter. It's a good lift. Our 2 judges at either end of the beam say so. Now, Ray Nobley. He's using the belt. Gets a good luck pat there to help him along. Only 5'6" but all that massive muscle. And there's no doubt about that one. Yes, it's a good one. So Ray with Capes, Drowiecki and Grant Anderson are in with a really good chance here. 4 of you got through that one. Do you think you could lift the next one? We work it out, it's about 24 pounds off a ton.
Well, what's wrong is my arm's beginning to hurt, so I don't know. If it begins to hurt, I won't do it.
Capes then, first to go here. 10 girls on the beam this time, and that's like 2 grand pianos. Nearly there, and all the competitors helping them along. But he's not doing it. He's gone out of time, yes. A very disappointed man there. That's his 2nd failure today, and he doesn't like it at all. Jeff Capes will now on to Grant Anderson. It's a big test for him. Will that elbow of his stand up here? No, even with 30 seconds to go, the elbow has beaten him. So, as in the car lift last week, we're down to the weightlifters, Andy Drzewiecki and Ray Nobili.
Do you think you're going to manage this one at all?
Well, I'm going to have a good attempt at it anyway, you know, but it's looking pretty heavy.
Well, it's Andy now under the beam. A lot of weight here. One light up, but no, it doesn't seem to be there yet. All that concentration. No, the time's up. And with him in this heat, Jim Whitehead and Andy Drzewiecki. And Drzewiecki well away. Going to be a one-man race, surely. Andy winning that in 5.3, and easily that's the fastest time. The others both clocking sixes. So it means all three will make the final with Grant Anderson. Getting loaded up again. Capes helping his teammate Whitehead. So from the left, we're about to see our competitors here. Bill Anderson, Grant Anderson, Whitehead, and the favourite, Drzewiecki. And Andy's well away here with Jim Whitehead, but he's down, yes. And it's going to be Whitehead who'll win this one in 5.5 seconds on our watch, edging Grant out of second place. Well, there's commiserations here for Andy, surely. But he seems to have had an injury. Let's see what happened in slow motion. And Drzewiecki was pulled down hard by that sack as he lost his balance. Anyway, it's 10 points for Jim Whitehead, 7 for Bill Anderson, 4 to Grant, and 2 to Drzewiecki. Well, now let's have a look at the situation after 11 grueling events and at the 4 men who lead the field. Jeff Capes unquestionably first, second Bill Anderson, third Ray Nobili, and fourth Jim Whitehead, qualifying for the tug of war where the points now are doubled. Now, the leader at the moment, Jeff Capes, will take on the third place of our 4 contestants. That's Ray Nobili. And at present, the runner-up, who's Bill Anderson, will be competing against Jim Whitehead. These are the first round pools, and the 2 losers will then tug for third and fourth places, the winners for first and second. And Jeff making it look very easy. Just 4 seconds, and it's not a popular win, but then with 23 stone against 16, what can you expect? Now to Jim Whitehead up against Bill Anderson. Only a stone of a difference here. Jim on 18 stone, Bill on 19. And the lighter Whitehead pulling, making the pace. Anderson dangerously near that line, but pulling back, fighting back now. Whitehead again, tugging forward. But Bill Anderson, the tough Scot, won't give up. His extra pounds may begin to tell here, even though he's 41, 12 years the older. It's a tremendous struggle. First one way, then the other. Whitehead slipping and recovering. Anderson. Is he getting the edge? He is. Whitehead's gone towards the line, it's all over. 45 seconds, so it's Nobili and Whitehead to pull for third and fourth places in this tug of war. Two stone of a difference here. Whitehead the heavier, and the weight tells. It takes just 6 seconds for Whitehead to win. The crowd on Ray's side going for the underdog, after all. He only weighs in at 16. Well, now we go to the climax here, the pull-off for first and second places. And it's Jeff Capes and Bill Anderson already sure in the overall competition of those positions. Capes 23 stone, Anderson 19. And we wonder how much that effort against Whitehead has taken out on Bill. And it seems a heck of a lot. Just a few seconds and it's over. And Capes wins again, as he's done in 7 other events. A lesson for anybody here? I mean, a few people probably haven't got the weightlifting training that's required to help them out. What sort of overall things do you need for a contest like this?
Strength, speed, stamina, suppleness, and skill.
And you forgot one other thing, competitiveness. You're a very important competitor. You really compete all the time.
Yeah, I think obviously competitiveness helps, and I think if you control emotion and channel aggression into what you're doing, you'll ultimately become a winner.
Okay, well done to Geoff Capes, Britain's strongest man, Geoff Capes! And the final result, Capes, 98.16 points and over £1,500 to his club. Bill Anderson, 58.83 and just under 1,000. Jim Whitehead, 44.33 and nearly £800.
Jeff, here, darling. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here's a kiss. Okay.
And a very happy Capes holding aloft his Waterford Crystal Glass Trophy. We say goodbye. Our thanks to Barbara. Well done to Geoff Capes. And thanks to all the people here at the Woking Leisure Centre. We say goodbye and leave you with the way that Geoff Capes became Britain's strongest man. Goodbye.
A Date with Glamour, next on STV, so stay with us for Charlie's Angels.
Good morning, Chris.
Sit down, Earl. All right, let's begin at the beginning.
We had a tap on this fellow Muller, Commissioner. George Muller.
That was in connection with your investigation of Sergeant Schaefer?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Muller has this bar and grill over in the 18th precinct. We received a tip that known prostitutes were frequenting the place. And that certain well-known suspicious characters who preferred not to be seen together in public often met there. Well, the tapped phone was in the pay booth of a garage Muller had an interest in. There were different kinds of conversations on the tapes. While I was running through them, I heard this voice.